I was born in a very small little country in the Middle East called Lebanon. To some people, they did not know where Lebanon was. They used to mistake it with Libya. And they used to go to me and say, you have lots of deserts, you have dates, you have sand dunes, and so on. I say, no. This is Libya. Oh, yeah, it's Lebanon. No, this is Lebanon. It's a beautiful little country. It used to be called Switzerland the East. People used to go to ski in the morning, drive 45 minutes to the beach, and they swim in the Mediterranean and sample the lovely Lebanese cuisine. It was a beautiful country to live in at the time, more like heaven for children. It was free, there were no restrictions, it was safe, and it was great for a little child to dream. One day, something magical happened to me when I was about around 5 or so. I was in the garden. My mum, bless her heart, was preparing lunch, which usually takes about 3 hours to complete and 10 minutes to consume. And all of a sudden, something happened. I heard noise in the sky. I looked up, and I saw this massive thing flying past. I was so dumbfounded by it, so I rushed back to the kitchen, and I tell my mom, listen, I saw something really amazing in the sky. It was great, it was green, it was blue, it was, wow, it's beautiful, beautiful, Mom. Okay, go play outside. So I go outside, wait for the second one to come. Wow, then I rush back again. Mom, you have no idea. And remember, she has a knife in her hand, and she's chopping. Mom, it's amazing. It was so low, I could touch it. If you let me go upstairs to the roof, I could actually touch it. It was an incredible thing. Yeah, go play outside. But about the third time, she shut the door. It was the French window doors, and I didn't even see it. It was closed. So I ran back to tell her, and bang, hit my head, fell on the floor. She looked at me, smiled, and I was still outside jumping around trying to tell her what I saw. Something happened at that day. I fell in love. Like any person, fall in love for the first time. Unfortunately, it was not a girl. It was a metal machine. So I asked my dad, what was that? He said, that's an airplane. It goes to the airport. I said, what's an airport? This is where they land. Could you take me there? No. Could I do something to make you take me there? Well, you can give me a massage if you like. So I gave him a massage for a long time, and then he took me to the airport. And all I've done for a few hours, just like this, on a balcony watching airplanes, and in dreamland. I knew there and then I wanted to be near these machines. Time passed, and I felt the urge to go and visit the airport more often. So I used to actually escape school, and I used to hitchhike. That's not me, by the way, it's my double. So I used to hitchhike to the airport and sit and watch airplanes. And when I needed money to buy food, I used to go and harass incoming tourists by carrying their luggage, and they give me money, and that's how I bought my food and took a bus back to the school, and then the bus back home. All was very well, but like everything that is good in life, there's always a challenge and there's a downfall. One day, unfortunately, the Civil War has started, and all life had changed. And unknown to me, like to thousands of other children, our childhood died. My parents were humble parents of poor background. They have lost their firstborn 6 months after birth. My next brother had polio at the age of 3. So my father and mother had to work day and night to pay for medical bills, for medicine. They even sold their wedding rings to pay for the medication. And all this I was looking at and I was observing every single day. And I wanted to do something to help, but I couldn't know what to do. I was still a child. I was afraid that something will happen to my family and they will die because of the bombing when they go out to bring us food. So I decided to do something to help them. From time to time, I go up to the airport to watch airplanes, and when the war starts again, I stop. And then I joined up as a child soldier, like this little boy down there with an M16. With this power in my hand, I could go to any hospital and I could force the doctors to help my brother. I could go to any chemist and force any chemist to give us medicine for free. I could go to any bakery and get bread free of charge. But that meant I had to fight, and I had to watch all my friends from school who were fighting as well die next to me. I didn't understand why the war was there. We were all living very happily together. All of a sudden, like somebody switched a light, and we have hatred everywhere. But for me, it was more about survival and trying to help my family. After the fighting intensified, I realized if I don't get out, I will die and I'll be buried like my friends. So I started to scheme my escape, and I've decided to travel to England. I was around 17 years old, and I started to work during the peace or lull in the fighting. I used to work on ships, in the ship hulls. I used to carry a lot of cartons of oil and cigarettes, and then start up at 7 in the afternoon, carry the packages, run around, give it to one child, run back, carry another, and then run back to the next child, give it to him. Like this from 7 in the morning till 7 in the evening till about 8 in the morning. And then I take my money, go to my mum and say, Mum, take this. I give her half of it. I say, please go and spend it on yourself. Don't spend it on us as you do. This is for you. And the rest of the money, I kept it. With this money, I bought my ticket to fly to London. I never told my parents I was going to fly here. My dream of flying has been ignited, and I was so anxious to go, travel, and get on with it. I was not afraid nor worried. I broke the news to my parents the night before I was meant to fly over dinner. My father, bless his heart, he cursed me in I don't know how many languages. My mother joined up, and they used emotional torment to try and stop me going. You leave it. Your brother died, and you want to leave us. Where do you want to go? You're only 17. You can't speak English. You have no friends. You have no relations. You have no money. What do you want to do there? Do you think the Brits are going to say, hello, Jack, come in. We will help you. No problem. No, I said, you have two choices. I die, and you bury me in a month, or I could go and make my dream come true. Reluctantly, they agreed, and I went to Beirut airport as a passenger this time. I got up to the aircraft. My heart was beating so much as if I was going to my first love date. And I went to the aircraft. I touched it to make sure it's real. I looked back at this airport for the last time, and I looked up to heaven. I said, I swear by heaven, I will never return unless I succeed, and I'm a pilot. And I knew there and then, even at the age of 17, that I will do it. If I don't make it, I will not come back. So I arrived to London. Don't know how they let me in, but they did, and probably my looks. And then I thought to myself, great, where do I go from here? 90 pounds in my pockets don't get me anywhere, and I can't speak English. But where there's a will, there's a way, and I will find a way. Looking around, I saw a phone box in the airport, in the terminal, with books. I went and had a look at the books, and an idea came to my mind. What if I find a Lebanese surname in there, and I can call them up, I can tell them my story, and maybe they will help me. Okay, so I did, and a guy answered the phone, and I told him the story. Yeah, no problem. Take a taxi and come to us. We are in Queensgate Terrace in Gloucester Road. I got there, knocked on the door. Imagine the scene. A young kid, slim, suitcases, door opened up. A guy looks at me, his jaw dropped, and he said, tell me this is a joke. I said, what do you mean? He said, tell me this is a joke. I said, no, I'm here. I've got nowhere else to go. I've got no money. I said, but you can't stay here. I thought somebody is playing a prank on me, and I accepted, and I'm going ahead with it. I didn't realize you're real. Like in the movie with Shrek, you know, the cat with the eyes? I did it. It worked, so he let me stay. So I stayed in there, and my journey of entrepreneurship has begun. I decided this is where I need to start the journey. So I started work in restaurants, day and night, saved money, and went to flying schools to learn to fly. But what that meant, I ran out of money every week. So I work for a whole week, and the money I make only pays for one flying hour. And that meant I couldn't afford to pay my rent, I couldn't afford to pay electricity, I couldn't afford to pay gas. And often, for about 1.5 years, I was homeless. I slept on park benches at Richmond, and when it was raining and cold, I used to shelter in the phone box. And when the police was around, I used to walk around to pretend I was out from a nightclub or so, and then go back to the bench and sleep for 1.5 years, on and off, on and off. But when I was so depressed and so down and so lonely, I had the vision of my parents and why I wanted to succeed. It sort of kept me going. And it gave me the courage and the stamina to do something. I didn't need anybody to help me. I will do it on my own. Persistence paid, and eventually I got my pilot's license. Hooray, now I can fly airplanes. But I needed to fly 650 hours to become an airline pilot or a commercial pilot. So I got myself a job as an aerial photographer. I never done photography in my life, but when I went to the interview, I convinced them that I'm the best photographer that ever got created by remembering the adverts on the TV. Okay, they gave me the job. I built my 650 hours. I was there. I was going to become a commercial pilot. And then my license was revoked by the Civil Aviation Authority. They said, you will never fly again. Because I broke every rule in the book when trying to film houses and property at very low altitude. And on a couple of occasions, I almost had collisions with the police helicopters, and once the RAF used me as a target practice in Wales. So they said, that's it, you're never going to fly again. Came out of court, I was really distraught. I was so angry at God and life I crossed the roads. I wished the bus would hit me and end my life there and then, because I thought, that's it, it's finished. I'm never going to go back anymore. It's done. And then, like life does teach you, there is a way out. If you take a step back, open your eyes, open your ears, you will hear something. Life will show you a way. So I used to travel trying to fix myself, get out of depression. By that time, I lost all my friends. You know, it's amazing when you run out of money, how quickly your friends disappear. So I thought, never mind, I will get back, I will get back. So I went to apply for jobs. I never got any jobs. My depression got worse and worse. The bailiffs have taken almost everything from me. I was living practically on the floor. And I thought, never mind, I will find a way. There must be a way. One day at Heathrow, I was sitting there in depression, really sad, homeless again because I ran out of money to pay for my flat. So I was out on the streets again. And in the middle of it, I looked at this aeroplane and I thought, I'm going to start my own airline. Nobody wants to give me a job, then so be it. I will start my own airline. And what's more, I'm going to fly with my own aircraft, not as a pilot. And so I did. By the time I took the bus from Heathrow to Harrow, I already worked out how to start an airline. I started calling airlines and say, how do you do business? Where do you get your airplanes from? How do you recruit your pilots? And I'm taking notes. I go to CAA libraries. I collect a lot of information. I thought, great, I need an airline license. Oh, piece of cake, I'll get the license. And to cut a long story short, I managed to obtain an airline license with the help of one man called Richard Rydat. So I had it in my room, which I was sharing in a house by that time. I was broke. I was with no furniture, but I had the same airline license on my wall as British Airways. Not bad, not bad. And then I went and I managed to get the airline designated as the official national carrier of Great Britain to the Lebanon. I convinced the Department of Transport, I don't know how. Talk about persistence, pays, it really does pay. I think they got sick and tired of me, but they managed to designate my company as the official national carrier of Great Britain to the Lebanon. And now all I needed was slots at Heathrow Airport. A slot is a permission to land and take off. That's a slot. And £6 million, piece of cake. That's it. Without any business experience, never working for airlines before, no business processes in my mind, just using common sense and gut feel and logic, I managed to obtain slots at Heathrow Airport for free. When I went to actually get them, the coordinator says, you have to buy them. You can't get them for free. I said, how much? Thinking to myself, £50,000, piece of cake. He says, well, if you want to fly on a Monday, that's 6 to 12 million pounds. And I said, what about Tuesday? 6 to 12 million. And I thought, maybe Wednesday is cheaper. So what about Wednesday? 6 to 12 million pounds. So I said, I need to raise 70 million pounds so that I can fly daily from Heathrow. He said, yep. Nothing for free? Nothing for free. Okay, business is over. I went out again thinking life is over. If I can get the slots, I will never be able to raise the money and get the project going. Where there's a will, there's a way, and I swear I will find a way, and I did. I found a loophole in the EEC law at the time regarding competition and helping to break down monopoly-operated markets. Using that law, I was able to get slots at Heathrow. They called me up. They said, Mr. Romero, you've got it. So I got the paperwork, and I stuck it on my wall right next to the airline license. So I have an airline license, 70 million pounds worth of slots, but the bailiffs were there to remove my TV. Okay, fine. All I need now is 6 million pounds. Where do you get 6 million pounds from? So I looked hard. I've been through so many meetings with banks. I stopped counting the 50th refusal, but I never gave up. And eventually, I found a man that liked what I was doing. And he says, I'll put the money. I almost fainted. So he gave me a glass of wine just to revive me. Ooh, that was nice. And then all of a sudden, he did. Put 6 million pounds. And what's more, he went down with me to Toulouse, and we ordered a brand new Airbus A320, $65 million. And we flew back to the Lebanon. I never told my family in all this time what I was doing. They saw me on TV on the night it happened, when I arrived. When I went to see my family in a limousine and a driver, my family stood there. I stood back. I looked at them. They looked at me. I didn't know what to do. What would you do to your mum if you haven't seen her for 15 years? Your dad is standing there, aged, tired. 15 years. What do I do? Do I run? Do I hug them? By the time we managed to hold to each other, tears flowing, and for me, my father being a very proud man, I never heard him cry or seen him cry. He was sobbing like a child. I closed my eyes, and only then I knew that the journey was for them. It was worth it. All the hardship, all the suffering, the homelessness, the tiredness, the loneliness was for them, not for me. Then the airline went from strength to strength, and we've operated with 1 aircraft, 65 employees, and within 2 years, I managed to gain a franchise partnership with British Airways. We've ordered 3 aircrafts and 165 employees. By 2004, we won the Queen's Enterprise Award, which was like the Oscars for me, but I didn't get any money out of it. And and by 2004, we've had 9 aircrafts operating out of Heathrow to 17 countries over 21 destinations, and over 750 employees. So 750 households were living out of the idea of a young boy who came from Beirut. That was the proudest thing in my life, that I was able to give Britain something back for letting me in and keep my life. By 2007, BMI bought my airline, which I started for £6 million. They bought it for £30 million. Not bad. And then actually, by 2011, British Airways bought BMI, including my airline as a part of the package, for $275 million. And my airline was valued, because of its assets, of over £65 million. So had we waited till 2011, we could have sold it for double that money. Never mind. Anyway, so the aircraft still operate today within British Airways. The only way you will know that this is my aircraft is the sign here. It's operated by BMed. And this is when BMI bought it. And then this is when British Airways bought it back. And then what did I do afterwards? I took a long, big holiday to rest. But as any other entrepreneur would tell you, they never sit still. So I went around and I started other airlines around the world. And something magical happened to me at that time. I realized life is not about money only. You can be successful in business, but your life will be empty if emotionally, as a human being, you are empty and you have no success. So I felt that life taught me all this, and it's time for me to give back. So now what I do a lot in my time, I help out businesses that are facing obstacles and problems to stay alive. Because if they stay alive, that means there are no redundancies. And we know that from redundancies, there's a lot of financial hardships which tend to cause families to break. And I don't want that to happen. And the experience I have, I pass on to the students. I lecture at universities as well. So I'm hoping that I can inspire the new generation of leaders, and hopefully in turn they could help their families, their community, and their country. And before I leave, I would just show you this little article that was published in 2016. As you can see in here, American Airlines paid Scandinavian Airlines $40 million for 1 pair of slot. So that's 1 takeoff and 1 landing. Now, you work out the maths. I had 9 aircrafts flying daily out of Heathrow. So if we sold the airline today, what would it be it's worth? Thank you very much indeed for listening.